Oh, wow. That's such a great question. So I think this thing is going on, and if you follow human design at all, there's a new type of human being born in the planet. I think we are seeing some of the early adopters of this, of the neurospicy people, the neurodivergent people are early. They're coming early to the planet. They're going to communicate in a whole different way than we do. I think that,
Yes.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Yeah. It's not always guaranteed that you taking out that money is going to be brought back to you in the time that you need to pay it back. How do you manage that for people who have had that experience? How do you navigate that? Because, like I said, it's not everybody. I've met a lot of people who have taken the leap, but it didn't necessarily work out.
And so I sat down and I had a conversation with Money, and I said, Money.
But once you have that ideal client in front of you, what is your process of getting them on board to really take that next step and not just purchase your product, but then also believe that what they're purchasing and know that what they're purchasing is truly going to help them solve that problem?
So the process I take people through is first I find out what's not working for them. And then I took a little class they offered afterwards, a little class with this high-end coach on how to do sales. And here's what they told us. Find people's pain point, make them feel worse.
What was your journey into learning what you needed to learn in order to have a successful sales or marketing strategy for you? And the most successful entrepreneurs, they're hooked into this evolution cycle. They don't see, like, they don't get to certain points and they hit roadblocks. They don't see the roadblock as like, oh, it's time to turn around, or I guess we're going to stop here. They're like, no, how do I move this roadblock?
Calls you, how do I want to say this? You'll learn a lot being a parent, but a lot of people call it in and slide by the lessons as a parent. Can't do that in business, because if you're not learning the lessons in business, it will show up in your income.
What are some of the obstacles that you automatically see with a lot of your clients that people have when it comes to expanding their business to make more money?
Such a great question. And we have to go back to what are the hidden.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Transformation to Expansion. I'm your host, Lajoie Bradley, and today we have a very special guest. Her name is Julie Fouch, and she's going to be on the show today to talk about divine feminine in your business, how to really incorporate the divine feminine in your business. And not just that too, because if you're a man listening, you got to be balanced in your business. You got to look at the masculine and the feminine. So this is going to be a great show for any of you guys, any of my spiritual entrepreneurs, or people who are looking to incorporate their spirituality into their business.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So I'm Julie Fouch. I'm the founder of the Art of Feminine Business and the author of the Witchpreneur Quiz. And I help female entrepreneurs, witches, spiritual entrepreneurs to really build a soul-fueled business that also fills their bank accounts. I am all about getting more money in the hands of more women so that they can do more good in the world.
Everybody loves more money, right? But not everybody knows how to make more money or how to step into the energy of more money. So much attention grabbing clicks and little clickbait videos out there that it doesn't really get to the truth of how you really do that. And a lot of the times, sometimes, when we are going through businesses, having our businesses and starting it for the first time, we're actually tapping into a part of ourselves that is here to grow. And so people also don't talk about that aspect where, when you do have a business, it's kind of like having a child. It's not the exact same thing. Parents, I know it's not the same thing, y'all, okay? But it's kind of like having a child in the sense that it's going to bring challenges. It's going to bring opportunities. There's going to be deep-rooted issues that you bottle down that's going to come up during the process of, you growing your business. And so there's just a lot of stuff that I think is just not talked about, especially in the spiritual entrepreneur space on social media, especially on social media. Okay. So I'm just really grateful to have you as an expert here on the show to talk about this. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about is, you talked about expanding your ability to make more money. What are some of the obstacles that you automatically see with a lot of your clients that people have when it comes to expanding their business to make more money?
Such a great question. And we have to go back to what are the hidden unconscious beliefs that people have around money itself. And we
Mm-hmm.
start with, like, there's a big one in our society that money is the root of all evil. And so if you're out there in a business trying to do good in the world, you want to be a good person, and yeah, money is evil. Yeah, you want to raise your rates, but you don't want to be seen as evil, right? You're already spending a lot of energy in this conflict, navigating this belief. And even though in our heads we can work our way around it, we can look at, where it came from, and that it's really a misquote, and all the things people do to justify their way around it. Deep inside, we still have those beliefs rooted. And then we add onto that. So we have all these society beliefs. Then we add our family rules about money. In my family, you're not allowed to outshine the golden child. My brother can't outshine him. Don't make more money than him. And then we go back. And so our souls come into this life, for those of you who believe in past lives. And if you don't, then it's actually, you can believe that it's passed down generationally. But there are vows, there are contracts, there are woundings around these beliefs. And I actually, the other day, I was in meditation and I went back to ancient Egypt, where the golden child was actually the king who was also the sun god, right? And outshining the sun god in those times would have automatically gotten you killed.
Mm.
And so somewhere my soul, whether my soul had lived it, or whether it was just coming through my lineage, there was this unconscious message that I had to uncover and reframe to make it safe. For a lot of my clients, they hold what I call the witch wound,
Mm-hmm.
that powerful, wealthy healers, magic women who are visible, they either get thrown in a dungeon, thrown in a river, or burned at the stake. Now, if you come into this life and that's been part of your past life or part of your lineage, and you decide you're going to be a visible, powerful healer in the world, you've got this thing battling against you that says, don't do that, you'll get burned at the stake. That's very, very dangerous. And I talk to so many women who say, yeah, I was going to get on social media, or I was going to go do a speaking gig, and I just couldn't make myself do it. And it makes so much sense if their unconscious mind is telling them, if you do that, you risk death for yourself and the people you love. So when we start talking about money, we've got to look at, what are those hidden things? What are maybe some things in your lineage or your past life? And I can give you every great strategy. I'm so good at strategy. I can give you all the great strategies for making money. But if something inside you is screaming, that's not safe, you're either not going to do it, or you're going to find a way to make it not successful. So that's the place I always start with my clients. I start by looking at, okay, let's drop into your soul records. Let's see what's hiding away in there that's keeping you from moving forward and having the success that you're dreaming about. And we actually change those beliefs. We let go of the old wounds and the old contracts, so that you can begin to open to making more money. And then we can put strategies in place in the physical world.
Because even in my experience, I had this issue where, my conscious was on board. I was doing the affirmations. And And this is coming from a space where I was doing the things that had worked before. It had worked before in a different context, right? So I had a job that I had. So it wasn't my business, but I had like a different job. So I was able to manifest a lot of things, a lot of abundance. But then when I tried to do the same thing again for my business, I got a lot of blocks coming up. And one of the things that would happen actually, and it's one of those things I really want to break down to people, that it's not necessarily, I got to a point where my mindset was on board, but I would think, like, I was literally like, I would wake up and say my affirmations, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, I'm whole. When I got to my I'm wealthy, especially when I do this first thing in the morning, my heart would get uncomfortable. So there are no thoughts that came up, but it was a feeling. What do you do with that? So, and again, there's no thoughts, there's no context to it. It's just this feeling that maybe it's not ready for it. What is going on in that situation? Because I think a lot of people, they might be aware of the feeling, but they don't know where it's coming from. And maybe they might have even, done some of the deep psychology work, but they're still having these issues come up.
Oh, I love that so much. Isn't our body amazing? Our
Mm-hmm.
body, our emotions give us so much information. And for you, it was coming through your heart. And so I would begin by looking at your heart, and I will actually take my clients through a process where if you close your eyes and you drop into your heart and you notice what color that emotion is and what shape it is and how much space it takes up, and you just be with it for a while. It's not right or wrong. You just be with the emotion. And then you can begin to speak to it. And usually I'll say, can you turn that emotion into a creature with eyes and a mouth? And it's amazing what pops up for people. There are dragons and snakes, and for some reason, a lot of frogs will pop up in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what image, and we're bringing this feeling out, and we're honoring the feeling because, again, it's not right or wrong. Feelings are there to give us information. And then we begin to have a conversation. What is it that you represent? What is it you want from me? What is it you're trying to impress upon me? And we begin to get information from it. And a lot of times those feelings are protector parts of ourselves. Oh, maybe it doesn't feel safe to make that money. Or maybe there's some kind of conflict around what will happen. A lot of women still, even if their heads don't believe it, a lot of women will have this conflict around, what will my partner think if I may make more money than my partner does, right? Because society has taught us we're not supposed to make more than our partner. So women will have this conflict that they don't even know it's there. And by just having this gentle, open conversation without expectation of, okay, heart, tell me now, but just this gentle conversation to begin to ease into what might be going on there. And that's another great place to have a mentor or a coach, even, well, I think therapists do this kind of work, but I've only done it in the coaching realm, but someone, to guide you and ask you questions and be able to interact with you at that level is really helpful. And it's all about exploring. Okay, what else is going on here? And sometimes, like you said, you did it in your business or your job, and then bringing it into your business, it was a different thing. Well, it's because you're putting yourself out there at a different level. And so it gives you an opportunity to do the healing work at a deeper level. You said in the beginning, business is going to teach you a lot. And having raised kids and built businesses, I think that business actually calls you, how do I want to say this? You'll learn a lot being a parent, but a lot of people call it in and slide by the lessons as a parent. Can't do that in business, because if you're not learning the lessons in business, it will show up in your income. And so business allows you to, it calls you to go deeper. I've been doing this for 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I still am called into the next lesson, the deeper lesson, here's another layer to peel away. And it does get easier. I know how to peel the layers now, which I didn't know in the beginning. So it does get easier, but it's always a deeper learning.
Well, it's so interesting because I think more and more entrepreneurs and businesses, they're starting to talk about this, talk about the evolution of a business. They say one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is that when their business fails, they say, oh, it must be the business, and they move on to a new business. And there's a lot of people who keep on moving on to a new business, but because it's not, but they don't see why it's not working. And one of the guys in the interview, he was talking about, it's because, when your business isn't working, it's not, hey, I should stop and do something new. It's, what do I need to learn or fix so I can evolve my business to get to the place where I want it to be? And a lot of people, they don't think that way. They think that, oh, this just must not be it. And they move on to something new. And if you really feel it's not in your heart anymore, that's one thing. And the most successful entrepreneurs, they're hooked into this evolution cycle. They don't see, they don't get to certain points and they hit roadblocks. They don't see the roadblock as like, oh, it's time to turn around, or I guess we're going to stop here. They're like, no, how do I move this roadblock?
There's a theory out there called the theory of failing forward. And it really is about, I hit a roadblock. Okay, let's debrief it. Let's tear it apart and look at what didn't work. And then how do I want to move forward from there? And when I look at what my business over the last 20 some odd years, it's absolutely not the same business it was. It's always that evolution, always that failing forward. Oh, this didn't work. Is this not working because the world has changed and that's not working anymore? Is it not working because I have something I need to evolve? Is this not working because, there's a lesson here for me? Like, it's always going deeper. And I love that you brought that up. It's always about, okay, what is the meaning here? Not, I'm done and I'm going to go work for Starbucks. But how do I take this and evolve that? And I know you do that in your business too.
But like I said, when I first started my first business, I think I wasn't necessarily in that mindset. And so, yeah, I did change it a couple of times, but it's hard. It's hard. For me, it was a big learning process and a big growth process.
Do you remember doing your first website? I remember.
Oh yeah, I've done 3 websites now.
Yeah, I remember doing my first website, and I actually took a class and learned this so long ago. I'm so dating myself. I learned HTML so that I could design a website. And I designed my first website, and I thought, oh, thank God that's done. I'll never have to do that again. Right? And it was such a shock to me that, oh, no, this is ongoing. This is evolution. Of course, I'm going to redesign it. And now it's just we go through it once a year and we go, what needs to be tweaked? What have we changed? What have we up-leveled in the business this year? But I just remember that feeling of, oh, I'm done forever. And then the shock of realizing, oh no, I'm not done with this forever.
But I think the 2 biggest things I think people have an issue with is actually sales and marketing. You've gone to the retreats, sat in ceremonies, even worked with healers, and now you've been told that it's your turn to do the work. Well, this is that next step. I'm so excited to share with y'all that this year we have our first Transformation to Expansion event on September 9th, 2025, where we will be in ceremony together, releasing all the things that are blocking us from truly transforming into the new version of ourselves. So you can really go into 2026 as the new you and stop holding back. back. This is going to be a really powerful activation, y'all. I really don't want y'all to miss it. If you're one of the first 15 people to sign up, your ticket is completely free. So make sure to check the link in the description below for the link to the ticket for this event. I cannot wait to see y'all there. I love y'all so much. What was your journey into learning what you needed to learn in order to have a successful sales or marketing strategy for you?
Oh, I love that question. So I went through a pretty rigorous coaches training program. It was 5 weekend classes, then a 6 month intensive. And so I was trained really well to be a coach. And then I took a little class they offered afterwards, a little class with this high-end coach on how to do sales. And here's what they told us. Find people's pain point, make them feel worse, make them feel really, 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 really bad, then position yourself as the only solution to their problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't get off the phone till you get their money. And that felt so bad that I didn't market my business for the first several years until my husband's business fell apart. And all of a sudden I had no choice. I had to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did was started to look at what's a different way of doing this. What is a different way of marketing that really is soul fueled? What is a way of selling that really honors the person in their journey and honors where they're at? And so my sales conversations are very different now. For marketing, I use the system called tribal marketing, where you actually go into your own journey and your own story. We can pull out some magic marketing words around how your clients feel and what they desire, and create a story, marketing story that attracts just the right people. I also add a little spiritual call that the right people come in. I am not looking for everybody. And I think that's one thing you have to know. If you are looking for everybody, everybody will overlook you. And so who is it specifically that you want to coach? I coach women who are spiritual entrepreneurs, who have some witch lineage in them. That's pretty specific, and who are willing to overcome their money challenges to create a lot of abundance in their life and in their world. Mm-hmm. Pretty specific. And when you discover that, then your right people start coming to you. And then as far as sales go, I am truly in this place of, if it's a yes, the person will know while I'm on the phone with them, and they will say yes to me like that. And a lot of people say to me, it's a yes, let me go find the money. Or it's a yes, but can I start in 2 months? Right? Sure, no problem. I want it to be right for you, because I have a relationship with money that says, if this person isn't it, money's going to come through another channel. Mm-hmm. Right? If this person isn't the person, then it's going to come from a different person coming into my world. And that happens over and over. So that leaves me free to say to the prospect, here's what I can provide you. Here's the change we can make in your life. Are you ready to make that change? And really guide them into a true, not a fearful no, because a lot of people have fearful no's, but a true and authentic, full body yes. Mm-hmm. Full, we talked earlier when you said you felt that feeling in your heart. Well, I want my clients to feel that in their heart, in their gut, when they say yes to me. And if they don't, if it's either they feel a no or they don't, they haven't tuned in, then I haven't done my job in our sales conversation to help them get to the point where they can feel a full body yes or a full body no. And I am unattached to the result. And I think this is really a different way of doing sales. And then I also use human design. So if my client is a sacral decision maker, I'll ask them, go to your gut. What does your gut say? Is your gut telling you I'm the right person for you? Again, I'm unattached. I want you to make the right decision for you. If they are an emotional decision maker, I won't ask for an answer right then. I'll say, you'll know the answer within the next 48 hours. Let me know if it's a yes or a no, because they need to have time to be in their hearts. And this way of doing sales honors who the person is rather than pushing them, which is what most people hate. They hate the idea of being a car salesman and pushing people to give them money right then. So you can be a really effective leader on a coaching call. Help people come to or on a sales call, and help people come to a really authentic and true to them, correct for them answer. And that's of service rather than being a pushy salesman. So it's a real shift in how you do business and how you do work. And then marketing for me is just like this joyful storytelling. Let me tell you how I made, it's like if you were at a party and you had made, I don't know, pigs in a blanket, and you went around and you said, let me tell you how I make these pigs in a blanket. They're so good. I put Dijon mustard in them. Would you like one? And if people said no to that, you wouldn't be angry with them. Right? That's what marketing is meant to be. Let me tell you joyfully how I connected with the goddess Pele this week. And the fun that we had and the things that I burned up to make way for new life. Do you want some Pele in your life? Right? That's how marketing is supposed to be, so that it honors everyone instead of manipulating or I hate manipulative marketing. I hate the marketing that says, I'm the only answer to your... I've actually gotten off. One time I somehow got on somebody's list, because people do this horrible thing where they will put you on their marketing list without permission. If anybody's listening, don't do that. So I was trying to get off this person's list, and when I said unsubscribe, it went to a page that said, are you sure you won't get any of our good stuff? And I was like, yes, I'm sure. And then it said, are you really, really sure? And I was like, unsubscribe me. And the final message I got was, guess you don't want to be successful then. We'll unsubscribe you now. It was so horrible.
How do you get somebody to get to that full body yes in the sales point? Because, you can do so many, because there's different points when it comes to this process of making money. First, you have to make your business, so, create the platform. Then you have to get clients, reaching out. That's more marketing. And the selling is when you have that client in front of you.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many clients or potential clients I had in front of me and how many of them said no. But once you have that ideal client in front of you, what is your process of getting them on board to really take that next step and not just purchase your product, but then also believe that what they're purchasing and know that what they're purchasing is truly going to help them solve that problem?
So the process I take people through is first I find out what's not working for them. And then it's both this dialogue back and forth. What's not working for you? And then I go inward and I say, can I solve that problem? Do I truly, and I'm connected with my Akashic record keepers while I'm doing these calls. So I'll also say to the Akashic record keepers, am I meant to solve this? Like, is it within my wheelhouse to really solve this? And I think sometimes people get caught in, I've got someone on the phone and they're not checking in to make sure they can solve the problem. Once I know, okay, that's something I can solve, then I really honor the person by letting them talk about, how does it feel to have this problem? What's going on? What is it costing you in your life to have this problem? And I do that not in a way that's manipulative, but that is a way that is honoring, because most people don't get to talk about their problems. We're supposed to say, I'm fine, everything's okay. And inside we're churning. So first of all, allowing them to express that is a gift. Then I ask them what they want to create. And again, I'm checking in. Okay, this is what they want to create. Am I capable of helping them create that? And if I'm not, I'm going to let them off the phone. I'm going to say, that's not me. Go talk to George. George can help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sure that I can help them create that, then we talk about how to make that happen. And it's an emotional resonance that they're feeling. They feel seen. They feel understood. They know that I'm doing the work, even if they don't know with their heads. They can feel that I'm doing the work to check in and make sure that I can help them with their problem. With whatever the pain is, I can help them with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point in most sales call, the pressure starts. If you're on this end, you're like, okay, they're there. It's almost a client. I want a client. I need a client. Yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. And that creates a push, and it pushes them away. So I have to do the work of staying neutral. It's not easy at that point to stay neutral, right? My little ego wants the client. And so I drop back into, okay, let me drop back into my connection to source, my connection to spirit, where I know that source is my source. Source provides for me. My clients don't provide for me. They're simply a channel that source has chosen. Can I be of service? Yes. Now I turn it over to the prospect. Are you willing to take the next step into creating this vision that you just told me about? Into creating this business that your soul is yearning for? And I'll even say to them, do you believe I'm the right coach to help you do this? And I'm okay, whatever answer, yes or no. Am I the right coach? And I give them the out at every step. But if I'm the right coach, they don't get an out anymore. If I'm the right coach, we have to figure out how to make this work for you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that means you have to go find some money. Money never gets to decide for our life. Money gets to be a partner for us, but it does not get to decide. And I will tell you, I have solved more things in my life in changing the wording from I can't afford that to how can I make that happen? I bought this house because I changed my wording from, oh, I'm not ready, I can't afford it, to how can I make that happen? I manifested the down payment for a house in Central California in 5 weeks. Wow. By the time we closed escrow. And the day we closed escrow, I manifested a 7-week remodel where we redid 3 bathrooms and all the floors, and we painted everything. And probably a few other things we did. Mm-hmm. That's because money didn't get to decide. My soul said, this is where you're supposed to be. And it's the same thing with hiring coaches. When I know that I am supposed to work with a mentor, very, very often early in my coaching career, I didn't have the money for it. At one point, we were not making house payments because my husband's business had disappeared because he's in that, housing industry, and the bubble had burst. And I hired a high-end coach. I found the money to hire a high-end coach, knowing that if nothing changed, nothing changed. And she was the one. And I knew it with every ounce of my being. And I actually had to go find a credit card. I had hidden my emergency credit card in order to hire her. It didn't make any sense on paper. And so, boy, I got off on a soapbox there, didn't I? The message being money doesn't get to decide for us. Our soul guides us into the right decision, then money comes along to be a partner. And when you just trust that, amazing things happen in your life.
Hey y'all, did your vibration get a serious boost from this week's podcast? I know mine did. And I'm willing to bet there's a whole community that also feels the same way. Wait, actually, there is a whole community. That's right. On Facebook, we now have the Transformation to Expansion community where we actually have weekly discussions about the podcast episodes, and we even try out the freebies all together as a community to help us stay accountable. So definitely go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description below, and I'll see y'all there. Peace. So, you emphasized you need to focus on how can I make more money, or how can I make the money to get what I want. There are a lot of people who do borrow the money, use a credit card, and some people do pay it off, but there are a lot of people. In fact, I'm pretty sure, I think it's like 70% of the United States are in debt. It's not always guaranteed that you taking out that money is going to be brought back to you in the time that you need to pay it back.
Yep.
How do you manage that for people who have had that experience? How do you navigate that?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's not everybody. I've met a lot of people who have taken the leap, but it didn't necessarily work out.
Yeah. I think that there is a basic understanding of what debt is that we are missing in society. And it happened to me the year that I hired a high-end coach, and I put $17,000 on a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks later, I was invited into a program that I had said to this teacher, if you ever certify people in this, I want to be in the first certification. And I put another 17,000 on that credit card and maxed it out. And I was, my energy was like, oh, what did I just do? And so I sat down and I had a conversation with Money, and I said, Money, this is like a lot to put on a credit card at once. What was that? $34,000.
Yeah,
like, what the heck? I'm so scared. And Money said, stop it. I gave you a pathway to be able to get what you needed. I gave you the resource. And Money said, what people don't understand about debt in this country is how to use it well. The wealthy know how to use it. The rest of us were never taught. The rest of us were taught to use debt to take care of our ego desires and our emotional desires. When money is used in your highest and best good, that's a different thing. And again, it's that trusting this is right, not buying a program because you have a fear of missing out. I've done that, been there, didn't get the results. But buying into a program because it's the right thing for you. And when we do that, Money has given us this big pot, which we all get to use. And when we pay it back, we give back a little extra as a thank you because the pot is there. That little extra, we call it interest. But it's the thank you because we've gotten to tap into this big pot that didn't exist 200 years ago, right? People didn't have this big pot of money to help them make their life better 200 years ago. So this is something that money created that then the patriarchy took and turned into something negative and said, really use that to buy a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes. It'll make you feel better. And then we can't pay off the Jimmy shoes and they're Jimmy issue. And then it makes us feel worse, right? But when we are using it in a way that really elevates us, right? And you've got to have that discernment of, is this actually the right thing for me? Now, let's suppose that you buy into a program and you don't make your money back, but you do some work on a relationship level, and all of a sudden your relationship with your spouse gets better because you've done this inner, let's say you do some inner child healing work and your relationship with your spouse gets better, and it's not helping you pay back the credit card, but man, you avoid a divorce so you don't lose half of everything you own. Like, we've got to be we've got to look at, how did this really affect my life? Maybe you used it to do some health work and you didn't end up with diabetes, and therefore you saved yourself millions of dollars in healthcare costs, right? We've got to look at, if this is for my highest and best good, what's the true return on investment? And the money I put into those two programs, I grew so much through working with those two coaches. And it actually did skyrocket my business.
Mm-hmm.
I had the credit card paid off in less than a year, as a result of following my inner guidance. And there is no way that it made sense for me to buy into both programs at the same time. Absolutely no sense on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But my soul said yes. I have this trust, and I think this is a big part of it. I trust that if my soul says yes, then the resources will be there to make it happen. I think we fall, and I have really worked to develop that trust. It has not always been there. And I think that's the real work, is to develop that trust. It's when it's not there, then we start putting up all those roadblocks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, I paid this money for this course. It's not going to work for me. I know it's not, because nothing ever has. And I'm not saying it's your fault, because that's how we're conditioned to think. So I, for years, had a sign behind my computer that said, "Source is my source." And I'd walk around going, money, and repeat, "Source is my source, source is my source, source is my source." So I worked really, really hard to get to this place where, when I have money panic come up, because I still do, I can go, "Oh yeah, right, that's not me. That's not coming from me. That's not real. Source is my source."
So, you specialize in tapping into the divine feminine when it comes to your business, and tapping into the divine feminine energy. Why should anybody want to tap into their divine feminine? What it makes it important to tap into that side of them, especially for their business?
I want to start by saying there's no should about it. It's simply a choice. I will tell you that by tapping into the divine feminine, you can create with more ease. You can create with more flow. You create with all of yourself versus just half of yourself. So there's more power to it. We all have feminine and masculine energies within us. Masculine energies at its lowest vibration is a bully. That is the energy of pushing, grinding through to make your business work. Feminine energy at the lowest is manipulative, right? We've all seen that, that kind of passive, aggressive, manipulative energy. And both of those keep your business at a low level. The divine feminine, at her most potent, at the highest vibration, is creative, is collaborative, is birth giving, right? The feminine gives birth and brings new ideas, new ways of doing things, more life fulfilling ways of doing things into the world. The divine masculine, at its highest energy, is designed to bring action to the divine feminine's creativity. And so, instead of being in action on this sort of treadmill, push and push and grind and grind and go, the divine masculine brings its energy in, filled with ease and flow. And your actions become more aligned, and therefore more productive, and honoring space to then drop back into rest, which we don't give ourselves enough of in business, to drop back into listening, right? Listening to the whispers of creativity, listening to the whispers of what else wants to be born on the planet? Elizabeth Gilbert in her book Big Magic talks about there are ideas floating around, waiting to be born onto the planet, but you've got to take space to listen in order to hear those new ideas, those new projects and programs and book ideas. And so when you're in the feminine, you have the space to do that. That's a very feminine thing to do. And then when it's time, you bring your divine masculine in and allow it to send a letter to the book publisher or send the email out saying, I've got this program. And so it becomes this divine marriage working within you with all the parts of you instead of just part of you.
So what does that look like exactly?
Ah.
So, okay, let's put some context. So, as a podcast host, how would you see me incorporating the divine feminine into my podcast? Let's put it like that.
Okay. Ooh, how would we do it in a podcast? Okay, first of all, I think you need to look at your life in general. So, women work on a cycle, and usually it's a month-long cycle, right? And so we have to look at where our energy is in each phase of the cycle, and we can look at the moon as an example of that. Not saying you're aligned with the moon, because a lot of people are and a lot of people aren't. But let's use the moon. So we've got this energy where there's a new moon. Those are rest periods. So look at your month and your life. What is the week that feels like it needs to be a rest period? And maybe that's the week where for your podcast, you're not doing any production, but maybe you're sitting down and thinking, what do I want to do next in my podcast? Do I want to change direction? Do I want to maybe bring in some corporate sponsors? What would be really cool fun for my next solo episode? And then we look at the week where your energy starts to grow. Now, for the masculine energy goes, ooh, hey, I'm ready. Let's go for it. Feminine energy starts to open up more slowly. So this week when you're easing in, you might be saying, okay, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to book a couple people on my podcast during this week. I'm going to maybe start writing a script for my next solo episode. Then you're going to come to the week of the full moon or your full moon, where you have more energy, more magnetism. And maybe that's the week where you record 4 or 5 different episodes, where you do a lot of your editing work. Maybe that's the week where you send that letter out to a sponsor, where you're saying, hey, I've got this platform for you. Come join me. Mm-hmm. And then we come to the week where your energy starts to drop back down. And that's where you are maybe making sure that everything is loaded on your, I don't know what you use, your feed. So like we use Libsyn on my podcast. So we make sure, that would be the week I'd make sure everything's posted on Libsyn, that maybe my social media for the upcoming podcast episodes is all lined up, and that I know what I'm going to do during the next cycle. So I'm kind of wrapping things up during that week. And then you go in a week where you're not doing interviews, where you're not doing production, but you're again back into that space of resting, listening, coming up with new ideas, listening for those ideas. And you can do that with any kind of a launch, any kind of a thing. I actually on my calendar block the first week of every month. And that is, okay, if I need to rest, that's a week I rest. That's a week of downtime. That's a week that I fill in. And I really do a lot of deep listening, where I'm tapping into the record keepers on a continuous, ongoing basis. I mean, I do all the time, but I'm spending more time with the record keepers going, hey, help me download this, or what do you think of that? Or tell me about this new thing. So a lot of dreaming, a lot of bubble baths, making sure to step on Mama Earth, get out of my office, step on the ground, all of that happening during that time period.
So what is this cycle based off of? So is it based off like my moon cycle or?
Yeah, it'll be based on your moon cycle. And you can watch it like you can literally take a calendar and kind of rate your energy through the month. And if you do, 3 or 4 months, you'll start to see, oh, my energy here was a 3, a 3, a 4, 4, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, 10. Right?
Mhm.
You can start to see it. And for most women, it does follow their moon cycle.
Is this based off of your biorhythm?
I don't know a lot about a biorhythm, so that's an interesting question to ask.
Yeah, because that's what the biorhythm is. It's like you have your emotional, your intelligence, and your physical. And so, yeah, and they go in waves throughout the year. So, anyway, okay, that's fine. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
no, that's a great question. I also know that for me, I think everybody has not only the moon cycle, but also a yearly cycle. So, like, I won't do a launch in August. August is a low month for me.
Mm.
Like, all I want to do in August is go sit in the sun.
Yeah, I think I found that too for me also. It's like the summer is usually a peak for me. And then the fall, there's another peak in the fall. And then winter is like, mm-mm. And spring even. It's like kind of, it's more creative. I have to go more inward. That's when I'm creating stuff. I'm creating courses. It's a more creative time.
For me, as soon as January hits, I'm like, great, I'm ready. I'm gonna fire up. But I know that I've been in business a long time. So that winter and spring are going to be lower for you. So you plan to do your creation during that time period. You honor who you are. And that's the feminine way, is you honor your cycles and your rhythms.
We had discussed before the show that you also use Akashic records in when you work with your clients. And you had offered to see if we can tap into my Akashic records, which I've had Akashic record people on the show before. I don't think we've done a live tapping into the Akashic records. So and I think everybody also has a different method of tapping into them. So I'm so actually really excited to do this with you, just to see and let the audience see how, or let the audience know of some other ways that they can tap into the wisdom, especially that like contract wisdom where the predestined stuff that we said we were going to do, but we forgot, right? I think that's also really important to know because when you have a business, it's kind of nice to know the lessons that you're going to learn, okay? Especially if, like many people, I think when they, if they don't come from a sales or business background, usually they have to learn sales. And sometimes it's even in your predestined contract saying, hey, you're going to have to learn how to do sales, but from maybe a more honest standpoint, because in the past life, you were doing sales, but you weren't very honest, right? So,
So, first of all, the Akashic records are your soul's records, past, present, future, time, space, dimension. So it's a vast record. So we'll tap into yours. I'll ask you to ask me a question and we'll see what pops up. Oh, wow. You have a lot of holy energy. Oh my God. Were you a saint once?
I like to believe so. No, I'm joking.
No, yeah, it's almost like the energy is like, she walked with Jesus at one time, and that you really lived a very, um, you lived a very holy life in a very uncomfortable time period. Well, and generally when you have that kind of an experience, you're going to do it multiple times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm here
Yeah.
for it. I love it. Yeah, I love it.
So do you have a particular question you want me to ask them?
Yeah, it's so mundane. This is like that's extra stuff. So thanks for that. But that's yeah, that stuff I don't I don't know, I think I purposefully don't investigate because I don't really care right now and I don't think it matters either. And that's one thing I learned from the monks too. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you do now. It's it's really not about the past or even what you're doing. Yeah, because people this anyway. Yeah, there's a lot of people caught up in like what they did in the past or like what they're doing in the extra, the higher fields. And it's just like right now, I just want to be, not even want to be here, but I just want to focus on what I can do now in this time. And that's kind of what I'm focused on. That's
Yeah.
really what I'm focused on. Like, I mean, it's a cool, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great, but, I have like a mission that I came here to do. So that's kind of what, no matter what I did in the past, I think as long as I can redo whatever good I did in the past and redo it in this new way that I want to do it now, I'm happy. So,
Yeah, that's kind of the message is that the yes, they're doing a yes and.
mhm,
Yes, your mission now is important, and the past lives can actually feed you magic to like you had those past life experiences, both good and bad, which
mhm,
built you into this time when your soul came for this mission, and that you can tap back into those past past, what's the word they want me to use, um uh, past beings on the planet.
mhm,
You can tap back into that to help inform, guide, and elevate the work that you're doing now. So
mhm.
they're saying don't discount that and don't get stuck in that. Like what you're saying, just being in it's like we're in the upper realms and we ground ourselves to the earth.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I'm waiting for right now. Maybe I'm waiting to be a little bit more grounded. I think maybe that could be.
Okay, she says she's waiting to be more grounded. They're laughing at you. um, if they're saying so they really think that you're a lot more grounded than a lot of people. Um,
Oh, thank you. I've been working my butt off grounding. Oh my, you don't even know
yeah,
all the root chakra. I've been really working on that this past year, so I received that. Thank you.
that makes sense because they were like, yeah, she's grounded, she's here, she's on the planet, she's a change agent. Was there a specific question wrapped up in
Why?
that about what you wanted from this? Did you have a specific question for me, or are we on the?
No, it has nothing to do with the question. You just brought it up, so yeah. So when you brought it
Okay.
out, I just wanted to like explain
They
like.
often go that they often take the reins and they just go down the pathway. But I do want to
Mm.
answer your question if they are willing.
Yeah, so I guess my question is like, how can, because actually it's crazy. It's so crazy that we met today because I just came back from a fair and I had a cardiology reading. And one of my things I need to learn this year is how to make this podcast into more of a business. Because I really do believe in this podcast, and I do believe it's going to help me with my bigger mission. So I think it's going to give a good grounding platform for me to really build up the bigger mission. But my question is, how do I start to make it a business? And this is cool that I'm asking them too, because yes, I've listened to the podcast from a lot of men who talk about, oh, you have to do advertisement and then but it's a very masculine, it's not in alignment with the energies that we're meeting. So I'm just curious if there's anything little extra that or wisdom they can give me with this. Hey y'all, did your vibration get a serious boost from this week's podcast? I know mine did. And I'm willing to bet there's a whole community that also feels the same way. Wait, actually, there is a whole community. That's right. On Facebook, we now have the Transformation to Expansion community where we actually have weekly discussions about the podcast episodes, and we even try out the freebies all together as a community to help us stay accountable. So definitely go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description below, and I'll see y'all there. Peace.
That's kind of fun. Well, they're saying that the first thing is for you to start having the way they put stuff sometimes cracks me up. You need to start having open, honest conversations with the energy of the podcast itself. So you birthed this podcast, but it is its own energetic being in the
Mm-hmm.
world at this point. and that sometimes you don't listen to what the podcast itself wants.
Mm.
Sometimes you move forward with your, um, it's not a should, but it's like your vision of what you think it should be
Mm-hmm.
versus listening to what the podcast desires. And that doesn't mean that the podcast gets to run you. What it means is that be in conversation so that there's a relationship with the energy of the podcast and the two of you, because it might say, hey, I think it would be really fun if you took me to Bali for 3 weeks starting tomorrow, right?
Mm.
Say, okay, let's talk about the realities of being in a human body, right? And explain that to
Mm-hmm.
them that going to Bali
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow is probably not going to happen. Um, but to be in those conversations, that there are ways of turning a podcast into the business that have been formulated by the masculine gurus of the
Mm-hmm.
patriarchy. And we women, we feminine souls are creating all kinds of new ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you ask, how do I turn it into the business? You need to be asking that internally. You need to be asking that to the energy of the podcast itself, and then allow that energy to really play. And so the ideas will come through you having those conversations with the energy. Okay, is there anything else she needs to know about that? No, they're saying that they could tell me to tell you do XYZ and it wouldn't have the power that it will have, and it wouldn't have the flavor. There's like this sweetness to discovering it and creating it. And they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
they're also saying, take notes as you create it. Take lots and lots of notes. Take notes about what you tried, what worked, what didn't work. Because as a leader in this movement, this new movement of how business is going to be different, you will be able to teach those, swear to God, not my language, those youngins that are coming up behind you. I don't
Mm-hmm.
ever use the word youngins, but it's the word that they gave me. Those young, and they're saying it's young beings. So there are young beings coming along after you, and you'll be able to teach this stuff to them by taking notes and learning it yourself.
Okay, so just kind of create my own method.
But create your own method in collaboration with the energy of the podcast.
Yeah, but how do you tap into that energy then? So this is because, yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm not gonna try to.
So there's a couple of ways that I do it. Number one, you can have somebody record a meditation for you. What I do is I will drop into a meditation. I do an energy cleanse. I drop in, and then I will say, may I speak with the energy of my podcast, or may I speak with the energy of money, whatever it is I'm trying to connect with. Um, when you start doing this, it's really good to do it with pen and paper. And I actually will use two different colored pen. So purple is me, green is money, and then blue would be whatever the other energy is I'm working with. So I can find it. And then you just free write whatever wants to come out. Sometimes it comes out crunchy or grouchy. Sometimes it comes out really happy. I just like write and write and write and write and write. And then when you're done writing, you go back and read it for comprehension. This is just gathering what wants to come through you and out of you. Sort of like you would do in a free
Cool. I'll
write.
do that. Thank you. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, try that. Let me know how that works.
Okay, cool. And there's one woman, all right, not woman, Cynthia. I love her. She's amazing. But she was, we were talking about that in the last episode that I did with her. she was just like, we need to share it more. She was like, keep on, like, tell all the guests to share it. So, but that's been a whole
Yeah.
thing. That's been a whole journey, because there was a part of me that, like, I think I'm gonna edit this out. I don't know. There's a part of me that, because I'm like really subconscious about this. Because there's a part of me that, like, I'm asking these people to come onto my show, and I'm just like, I'm not at the level I want it to be at, and I just feel bad because it's like they're taking their time, and then I'm not getting the views, or and I just, like, there's a part of me that's like, is it still worth it for them to even come on? But a lot of people who have been on bigger podcasts, who have come onto my show, for them, they always say it's worth it, and they want to stay on longer. Like, it's really beautiful. So it's good. I just need to keep on finding the right people,
Yeah.
but yeah, I need to share it more with them too.
And we've all started somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you want those people who are generous of heart to be part of your show. And they will. Let me go ahead and close your records because I want people to know that it's important not to just leave them open, floating out there. So let me thank the record keepers. Oh, there they go. Awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, you are really magic.
Thanks. I like to believe so. I've been through it though, but yeah, it's funny because even if I was a saint in a past life, but yeah, there's so much context to this, but there, it doesn't mean that, how do I want to put this? Even if you were a saint in a past life, it doesn't really, there is good karma you bring into this life, but we still live on Earth, and we're still living on Earth in this time period. So there's still a lot of, like, social influence, environmental influences that really had an effect on me. And, like, there's some stuff that I did that's not saintly. Like, it wasn't saintly. Like, I'm gonna be real. You've gone to the retreats, sat in ceremonies, even worked with healers, and now you've been told that it's your turn to do the work. Well, this is that next step. I'm so excited to share with y'all that this year we have our first Transformation to Expansion event on September 9th, 2025, where we will be in ceremony together, releasing all the things that are blocking us from truly transforming into the new version of ourselves. So you can really go into 2026 as the new you and stop holding back. This is going to be a really powerful activation, y'all. I really don't want y'all to miss it. If you're one of the first 15 people to sign up, your ticket is completely free. So make sure to check the link in the description below for the link to the ticket for this event. I cannot wait to see y'all there. I love y'all so much.
Well, and you also probably, and I don't know this because I'm not in your records anymore, but this is my experience. You probably lived those lives where you were like this really elevated person, and then you've also lived lives where you were the perpetrator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've all been the witch and the witch hunter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it. I mean, it depends on what your goals are here on Earth. But I know that deep down in my soul, I think I'm one of those people who keeps on coming back. So, or one of those souls that keep on coming back. And so, if you are one of those souls, you have a different mission you're trying to do. And so when you're on that, like, other mission, you do have to incarnate with, having, okay, I'm going to learn how to be a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like the worst person. And that's what I'm going to experience this lifetime, because it's part of the whole. You can't just have one side of it. You have to have both sides if you want to become the whole. Not everybody wants to do that, and that's okay. You don't have to do that. But I do feel deep down in my soul that is one of my little missions. So not missions, but I think it's the mission. So cool. And there's there's consequences to that. I don't really know exactly how it works yet because there's so much mixed information about this, but there is kind of a little bit of not a cost, but it's like a contract you sign and you're kind of bound to it. So you have to keep on coming back to Earth to help other people, like, ascend and stuff. And so I don't necessarily know if you can necessarily go back home, I don't know how that works. I'm still kind of receiving information on that. And I tried to, like, ask monks about it, but they're annoying. They just tell me to meditate, and I'm like, well.
And then I told you, just go talk to the energy of your business or your podcast.
Yeah, right. It's cool. It's no, but you're giving me a lot more information that I feel like some of them, they straight up be like, you need to meditate more, or they won't give it to me, and they'll be like, you just need to just keep on meditating, and I'm like, just tell me.
Sometimes it feels like that. Can I just have all the answers right now?
Just, yeah, I know you know them, like, but it's okay. I'm partly over it, so.
Yeah, that's cute.
But yeah, but thank you so much for that reading, and I love that. And like I said earlier, you can get into contact with Julie, and she'll give you a full reading to help you get into conversation with your business, see what your business needs, see what your business is lacking, and see what you need to do personally to grow your business and to meet the expectations that maybe your business is upholding, but you're not following through with. So I really love that. Do you have anything else? Oh, actually, I have one more question before we log off. Okay. So, my last question I ask all of my audience, or all of my guests, audience, if you want to answer this, you can comment below. That's fine. Is how do you see humans evolving from here?
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. So I think this thing is going on. And if you follow human design at all, there's a new type of human being born in the planet. I think we are seeing some of the early adopters of this, of the neurospicy people, but the neurodivergent people are early. They're coming early to the planet. They're going to communicate in a whole different way than we do. I think that
Yes.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, and I think we're seeing those people starting to drop in. I think that humanity has an opportunity. We're in a realm right now. We're in a stage of breaking the old way and creating a new way. So it's like we've been playing this game called patriarchy. We've been playing it for I don't know how many thousands of years. And our souls are like, we played the game of patriarchy. Can we put it away and get out a new game? We get to create the rules of the new game. We have to show up. We have to be tapped in to our source, to spirit. And we have to play the rules of our soul's mission. I don't know what it's going to look like. I know that it's going to be different. I am holding out that it's for the highest and best of everyone, not just the highest and best of few. And I'm playing the game with that in mind, with the outcome, not to be that I win, but that we all win. And I think when there are enough of us playing the game so that we all win, and we do that by living our mission, the work that we came to the planet to do, tapping into source, spirit, God, whatever we want to call it, and taking action from that place, then we play for the highest and best good. When there's enough of us doing that, we will have a tipping point. Patriarchy will stop holding sway, and we will go into this new era. And we are entering that new era now. And so we need to be really conscious of what we're creating in this new era and how we're creating it. And it's crunchy and it's hard, and sometimes it doesn't feel good, and it's not fair, and there's terrible things happening around it. And I'm also excited about it because it does mean that we are making progress, even when it feels crunchy and hard.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That was beautiful. Well, thank you, Julie, for being on the show today. I really appreciate your wisdom and all of the guidance that you gave, not just me, but the audience. Are there any last words you want to say before we head out?
Other than you're really magic? Yeah, going into the records with somebody and feeling their magic is always this little high. So I would say to your listeners, know that Source has your back. Source wants you to live a wild, juicy, abundant life. And the more you are able to connect with that truth and with the source energy that flows through you, the God energy, the goddess energy that flows through you, the more you will open for abundance to flow through you.
I love that. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, y'all, make sure to check out Julie's freebie in the description below. You'll give me the link later in the description below. And as always, I will see y'all next week. I love y'all so much. Peace.